import some goods from other country and re-export them to another country for business sake. That is what we call as export trade. And if by importing it from other country, some amount of money has been paid for the importation, then when the products are re-exported to another country, then the money that has been paid on them will be added to the products, and thereby they will claim the charges back to themselves. Those are the division of international trade. Under the international trade, we also have some concepts that we need to understand. One, we have what we call balance of trade. Balance of trade refers to the total value of goods sold and bought by a country during a given period, usually a year. Then, when feasible exports equal to feasible imports in monetary terms, then we say we have a balance of trade. But if there is an increase on the value of the country's exports over the country's imports, you know, when you export a particular product and services, you collect money, you earn money. But when you import, you pay money out. Therefore, if the value of the exporting goods are more than the importing goods, then we have what we call favorable balance of trade or a positive balance of trade. But if the value of the importing products are more than the value of the exporting products, therefore we have what we call a negative balance of trade or unfavorable balance of trade. That is the relationship that exists with the balance of trade. Another one is what we call balance of payment. Balance of payment may be defined as a statement or record showing the relationship between a country's total payment to other countries and its total payment from other countries in a year. That is, the monetary term, the monetary value of the products that you send out, if it's more, the relationship between the money that you pay out and the money that you receive in as a sort of what the product is export out is what we refer to as the balance of payment. And we can have a favorable balance of payment as well as unfavorable balance of payment. A favorable balance of payment occurs when the receipts from infeasible and feasible export trade becomes greater than the payment to other countries on infeasible and feasible imports. Then we have favorable balance of payment. What that one is really talking about is that you export more, you produce more and export it to other countries and receive income for it. If the income is more than what you spend for importing some goods, then we have favorable balance of payment. The credit balance can be used to increase investment abroad or to add to countries' gold reserve. That is, the increase in this exporting product can be used to increase our investment abroad. And the opposite, which is unfavorable balance of payment, that one occurs when the payment on feasible and infeasible import is greater than the feasible and infeasible export, which is refers of the favorable balance of payment. It refers to as the adverse or deficit or debit balance of payment. Those are the relationship between the feasible and the infeasible balance of trade and balance of payment of a particular country. Another concept to understand under international trade is what we refer to as tariffs or restriction to trade. Tariffs are taxes or duties imposed on imports and exports by the government of a country. The aim of tariff is to restrict the volume of trade or to improve the international terms of trade. What are the major reasons? One, the major reason of imposing tariffs is to protect the infant industry, that is the growing industry in a particular country, so that the other country industry from another country will not come to that particular country to dominate the economy and kill the infant industry. It's not helpful for a country. Two, for generation of income, the tariffs also bring more income to the purse of the government. Three, to prevent dumping by placing a higher amount of money as tariffs on the goods and services that are harmful to the economy, so that it will discourage the importation of such products into the particular country. 3, 4, to improve the balance of payments, to make the balance of payment to be somehow high, and also to prevent the importation of harmful goods, just as discussed earlier. Then, for employment generation, it can help to generate more employment, such as people that will be used to collect the tariffs and what the tariffs can be used to generate as employment. Then also to promote self-sufficiency. In order for the country to be self-sufficient, self-reliant on the local production, the tariffs can be placed on the importation of products. Then also to check consumption pattern. If the government discover that the consumption pattern of the country is somehow encouraging the importation of from other countries, the government can place a higher tariffs on importation of goods and services, so that people will be forced to consume local products at that particular period of time. Then to protect strategic industry. If there is an industry that is not doing well, but ought to be doing well because people are not focusing more on the industry or the sector, the government can help by using the high tariffs on the importation of a country. Then for political motives, some use it for political reason in order to encourage some level of political items or political issues in a country. Those are the reasons for imposing tariffs. Also, we have what we call terms of trade. Terms of trade may be defined as the rate at which a country's exports exchange for its imports. It's expressed as a relationship between the prices a country receives for its exports and the prices it pays for its imports, and is calculated as the index of export price divided by the index of import price multiplied by 100. That is the formula to calculate the terms of trade. Also, we have another concept that refers to as economic integration in Africa. This is under international trade as well. And when we talk of economic integration in Africa, this is defined as a form of international cooperation among nations to foster their economic interest. Countries with common interests form themselves into an organization whose major aim are to remove trade barriers such as tariffs and embargoes and other obstacles that reduce the free flow of goods and services between them. An example of such economic integration that we have in Africa is what we refer to as ECOWAS. ECOWAS means Economic Community of West African States. That is ECOWAS. And this ECOWAS in particular was founded on May 28, 1975 in Lagos, in Nigeria. That was when and where ECOWAS was founded. It comprised of all the 16 independent nations of West Africa. Abuja is the administrative headquarters, while Lome is the fund headquarters. And the ECOWAS comprises of 16 nations, and the 16 nations can be divided into 3. We have English-speaking countries that we refer to as Anglophone countries, and they are Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. Those 5 are the English-speaking nations that are in ECOWAS. 2, we have other French-speaking countries that we refer to as Francophone countries, which comprise of Senegal, Guinea, Togo, Mali, Benin Republic, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Mauritania, Niger Republic. Those are the countries that are French-speaking countries. And we have other 2 countries that speak Portuguese that we call as Lusophone countries, which are Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau. The aims and objectives of ECOWAS are: 1, trade liberalization; 2, to ensure economic stability in those nations; 3, to abolish trade barriers and restrictions among those countries so that there will be free flow of transaction. 4. To foster closer relationship between those countries. 5. To increase production so that the level of production will increase because of their coming together. Then, development of African continent is another aim and objective. Also, to raise the standard of living in those countries, and lastly, to reduce poverty in those countries. Those are the aims and objectives of organizing ECOWAS in Africa. Let's consider the following questions under international trade. 1. Terms of trade simply means the price ratio of imports to exports. B. The price ratio of exports multiplied by imports. C. The price ratio of exports to imports. D. The price ratio of exports minus imports. Question 2. Tariff can be defined as a compulsory levy on dash goods that are produced and consumed locally. B. Foreign exchange ends. C. Imported but inferior goods. D. Imports and exports. Question 3. Balance of trade is defined as the relation between dash A. Infeasible imports and exports. B. Feasible and infeasible exports. C. Imports and exports of services. D. Feasible exports and feasible imports. Question 4. International trade is desirable